Say you get a client who calls you just out of the blue. They have a commercial that they want you to record. Great, right? Then they ask, how much will you charge me? What are you going to tell them? Do you know how to go about that process of determining a rate? Well, that's what I'm going to help you with in today's video and give you a negotiation tip at the end that you're totally going to be able to use. So let's get to it. Determining appropriate rates, understanding industry standards, and negotiating with clients are some of the top questions that we hear from voice actors at the studio. And honestly, I get it. It can feel overwhelming because every genre and usage case is different. So, what's a talent to do? Well, there are ways around it. I'll break this down for you into basic rate structure, give you a real-world example plus step-by-step calculation, the negotiation tip I mentioned, and throw in a why a session fee matters as a bonus. First off, basic rate structure. Let's simplify things. I'll walk you through a basic commercial rate structure, step-by-step instructions for quoting, and a sample negotiation strategy. And for this example, we're going to use non-union rates, since a larger percentage of voiceover jobs fall into this category. For union work, refer to the SAG-AFTRA voiceover rate sheet, and I'll put a link in the notes for you so you can check it out. Number 1, basic rate structure for commercial voiceover. What determines the rate? Well, for this, there are 5 factors, actually. How many ears will hear it? Estimated impressions. Where will it run? Broadcast TV, streaming, YouTube, local radio, Spotify, etc. Where will it run geographically? Local market, regional, national? Is it going to be worldwide, global? How long will it run? 13 weeks? A whole year? How long is the spot? 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds? There's a reason why all of this is taken into consideration and why it matters. Because more ears equals more potential customers. More potential customers equals more revenue for the brand. Bigger platforms and a longer run equal higher ad value. You got to take all of it into consideration. Number 2, real-world example plus step-by-step rate calculation. Now, let's say you get a message from a client. Hi, first name. I'd love to get your rate for a 30-second TV and radio spot that'll run for 3 months for my restaurant in Minnesota. Side note, most casting sites won't actually be that specific, but in online casting, you might only see a 30-second TV and radio spot. And that's all they give you. So you'll need to follow up and clarify. Where will it air? Is it local, national, regional? How long will it run? Will it live online too? Because that's another extra. So here's the step-by-step. Step 1, go to the GVAA rate guide. Your voice is being leased, usage, not sold. Step 2, scroll to commercial under voiceover categories. Step 3, click TV broadcast. Now the client said Minnesota, and that tells you it's a local market. One state, no major cities like New York or LA or Chicago. So the rate for 3 months is going to be $400 to $500. Step 4, now go to radio under the categories. This is also a local market for 3 months. Rate, $250 to $320. The rate breakdown, subtotal, usage, $650 to $820. And then, have you thought about adding a session fee? Which we do recommend. In between $150 and $300 depending on your setup and services and your qualifications, how long you've been at it. And I'll get to the why you'd want to consider a session fee in just a sec. There is a good reason. 3, negotiation tip. Provide value, not discounts. Your client should feel like they're getting a great deal, but that doesn't mean undercutting your rate. You do it by clearly communicating what's included. Let's give a sample email reply. If we go back to the original email you received, here could be your response. Platform rate range, TV, 3 months, $400 to $500. Radio, 3 months, $250 to $320. Here's the email you could send. Hi, restaurant owner. Thanks so much for choosing my voice to represent your restaurant. I'm excited to bring the spot to life. Here's what the industry standard rate via the GVAA rate guide looks like for a 3-month run. And we'll usually add that in the link so they can see that we're not just making it up. TV usage, 3 months, $400 to $500. Radio usage, 3 months, $250 to $320. And then a session fee, $150, which includes broadcast quality home studio, connection options, session delivery, and 1 revision. Since I know you're a small business, I'd love to offer you the lower rate of $400 and $250, so your total would be $800. If you decide to extend usage beyond 3 months, it's just an additional usage fee plus 10%, and you'd save on the session cost since we already recorded. Let me know what works best and I'll line everything up. Number 4, why a session fee matters. Even if the spot doesn't run, your time, your performance, your recording work still have value. Session fees are an important safety net. Plus, they help with things like short notice requests, holding dates, and covering time spent prepping or editing. I like to include the rate range when I can offer them less than the highest number, and then tell the client why I decided on the exact price within that range. So, for something like that, I might say, typically my rate is on the higher end, but since this is the first time that we're working together, I'd like to offer you the mid range rate. So, does that help clear things up when it comes to determining and negotiating a voiceover commercial rate with a potential client? If not, and you have questions, put them in the comments. We're here to help you with free advice as much as possible. And when we can't do that, we have a bunch of classes that can help you fill in the blanks of whatever you don't know yet. So feel free to check us out at atlantavoiceoverstudio.com or provoiceovertraining.com. Coming up next week, you're not going to want to miss it. Do you know the name Lance Kistler? Well, if not, you should, because he's only one of the best voiceover casting directors to follow on LinkedIn and sends out a ton of auditions through agents. He's always sharing the inside scoop, and Heidi grabbed him for a podcast. I'll have a video snippet next week, guaranteed to help you out. Till then, Atlanta Voiceover Studio and ProVoiceoverTraining.com are here to equip, elevate, and inspire you in your voiceover journey, giving you the tools and resources you need to create the voiceover career you want. Remember, build your voiceover business. Think outside the box. Cheers to your voiceover success.